and this is my big sister Stacey.
And this is Sister Social Call. Well, hey, sissy.
Hello, sister. How are you?
I'm doing well today. How are you?
Well, I'm a little frustrated because I can't seem to get into my emails, so I can't get the show notes. So I'm feeling a little defeated right now because this is not something that really happens to me. So yeah, I'm a little frustrated, not gonna lie.
So back in February, Chrissy and I were planning out our topics we were going to do for the next quarter of our podcast. And so we put out on Instagram, we asked you, our listeners, what topics you wanted to hear us talk about. And one of the suggestions came from Jannike, who is our friend of our show, one of Chrissy's clients. She asked us to talk about books that didn't just entertain us, but genuinely changed how we think, live, and show up in the world. These books aren't just good reads. These are the kind of books that stuck with us. They challenged us and sometimes even made us a little uncomfortable, but in the best growth way. So the first book for me that came to mind right away was Brené Brown's book, Gifts of Imperfection. I absolutely love Brené Brown's work on shame and vulnerability. And this book really flipped my understanding of vulnerability. Before reading it, I thought vulnerability was a little bit of a weakness, something to avoid, but she reframed it as courage. In the book, she talks about letting go of who you think you're supposed to be and embracing who you actually are through vulnerability. And I would say that I definitely started to open up, especially in my workplace, and just be vulnerable with my coworkers and tell them, be honest about what was going on in my personal life. And I really felt like as a team that those things brought us together more. And when I changed jobs, I took some of those skills and built relationships on just being completely honest and vulnerable. And I think I'm a critical part of how we interact with each other in the culture of just being real with each other. But Sissy, you also had a Brené Brown book on your list of books that changed your life. Do you want to talk about your first one?
Well, sure. My book by Brené Brown, she's got so many really great ones, but I remember reading this book, oh gosh, years ago. I don't even know when this book was published. I still have it because it's one that I've read more than once, but it's called Braving the Wilderness. And it's the idea that true belonging only happens when you totally show up truly as yourself. So even if that means standing alone. And I really believe in that, like, big time, you know? And so I can't remember when I read it, but it really obviously resonated with me. And I even really think that there's like a huge part of what I've been working through over the last few years of my life, when I started to like deep dive into things with Christine and working in this group of women. Anyways, the book, it has a few key points to it. One being true belonging versus fitting in. Fitting in is something that is where you change yourself to fit in, like you change things about yourself to be accepted. Where belonging is being accepted as you are, and that comes with the self-acceptance. The wilderness is the uncomfy space where you choose authenticity over other people's approval. And so that's like the wild wilderness feeling. And so true. And this really truly has cropped up in my life a few times. This book definitely has, like, in times of change, and I read it not that long ago again, actually. So another one is that kind of talks about in the book is how connection reduces division, and being curious about other people. And so, and I love this part of that book where, like how connection reduces division. I think we can see this really, see in the world right now. You can just see how the more that we connect with true human beings and connect with each other, the gap is lessened. But the more that we isolate and we don't have that human connection, the more divided we seem to become. Anyways, and the fourth part that's comes up in is the speaking truth and your truth and being who you are as a person. And anyways, I think that we can find ourselves like trying to fit in and things in life, but in doing that, it becomes a very lonely place to be because you aren't being who you really, truly, authentically are. And when you're not being that in your life, then you're just the most disconnected from yourself. To be completely frank, I've found myself, I think, in situations in my life where, and not all, but there's been times in my life where, yeah, you want to fit in. And so you kind of lose sight of yourself and who you are and what you really believe in as a person. And you kind of leave those out the window just so that you can fit in. And then the next thing you know, you're like, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't align with me. It was really a really meaningful book to me amongst all the books that she has written. I think I've read almost all of them. There's a couple I haven't, but so yeah, so that's one of my favorites by Brené Brown.
Another book for me, one that it's an oldie, but for some reason when I was thinking about this topic, it kept resonating with me. I'm like, okay, well, that must be the book. So for me, it was actually The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. I read this book so long ago. Like, I think I was in high school. So that's like, you'd all be very surprised, but that was like 20 years ago. Just
remember that book kicking around our household for like forever. Mom probably still has it. I think maybe she said she did actually.
Well, I got to go get it out from the library and reread it and see if it still resonates with me because it's just been so long since I read it. But I'm like, well, it just keeps dropping in when I'm thinking about this. So it left a very big impression on my life if I was thinking about it. So if you haven't read it, the book is a first-person narrative of spiritual awakening, discussing various psychological and spiritual ideas that are rooted in many ancient Eastern traditions, such as opening to new possibilities can help an individual establish a connection with the divine. The narrator undertakes a journey to find and understand a series of 9 spiritual insights in an ancient manuscript in Peru. He is in a transitional period of his life and begins to notice instances of synchronicity, the belief that coincidences have a meaning personal to those who experience them. And we have often talked about coincidences on the pod and in our personal lives, and we don't really believe that they're coincidences, but that they are more than divine interventions in our life. And so I think that's where I'm pretty sure it was the Celestine Prophecy that made me realize and understand about synchronicity. And so I try to act on those things. The best example that I can think of is when somebody out of the blue pops into your mind. I don't take that as, well, I miss that person. It's usually a sign for me to connect with that person. So that's my book that I feel like I probably need, that left a big impression and that I really need to go and reread.
I remember also reading that because it was around our house, but it wasn't as impactful to me. But now that we're talking about it, it's like, yeah, I should reread that again.
Yeah. I have a few honorable mentions because I didn't want to get down the road of too many books that changed our life. But here's 3 books that I think were really impactful in my life. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, and Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Those are my other big books in my life. Anyways, Sissy, your next book is a classic children's book that changed your life. So you want to share a little bit about your next book?
I'm not sure necessarily that's a life-changing book, but it's a book that I also remember reading it as a kid, and then it has cropped up all throughout my whole entire life, and it's The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. Classic. The whole idea about the book is it's a young boy who creates a relationship with the tree, and he plays with the tree as a child, and then as a boy he visits the tree a little bit less, and then and then he starts to ask the tree for things such as money, and then the tree gives it apples, and then it asks for a house, and it gives it branches, and then he asks for a boat, so then the tree gives it its trunk. And then the tree is then just reduced to just a stump. And anyhow, and so then as life goes on, the guy gets older, and then he just wants a quiet place to sit. And when he gets there, then he just sits, and then he ends up sitting on the stump, and the tree provides him the stump, and then the tree's all happy again. I think you could take it in a lot of ways, like the relationship between like a person and nature. The whole idea of being and just continually taking, but not really reciprocating. You can like strip an entire tree bare down to nothing without, giving it back. Just the same as people. Life is about give and take. And so there's that as well. And so I just remember reading it and just being like, oh my gosh, like thinking as a kid, be thinking, oh my goodness, like the tree's not going to have anything left. And then it also like shows the relationship between the tree and the man. And anyhow, yeah, so that was definitely a classic as well. It's like one that I just like remember. It was again when we started talking or thinking about this topic, there was a few other books that kind of hopped into my brain, but this one came to my head and I was like, this one felt more, it's something that I remember from being a child and all throughout my life. I also then got thinking like there was a lot of like Dr. Seuss books that were also really awesome. There's like some really great quotes from Dr. Seuss books about life, there's like some really amazing children's books, and I remember them as kids, and then and of course like as adults, our books changed. One of the books that I was also thinking of was The Untethered Soul, and that's a really great book as well. But otherwise, there's all these books that there's little parts about them that I really, really love. There's some really good classics. Again, like we just read the book, The Let Them Theory, not that long ago, and I thought that was like a really great book. A good reminder in day-to-day living life as well. So I really, really, truly like that book. There's just been some really great ones. I think that's it for me on that end of things.
Okay, well, Jannike, as we said at the top of the episode, gave us this suggestion, this topic. So we asked her what her books that changed her life were, and this is her response. I have a few authors that impacted me, specifically Frederick Bachman, A Man Called Ove, is the one that started it for me, and Matt Haig. So many of their books, mostly fiction, have tugged at my heart. Jannike goes on to say, in terms of nonfiction, I went through a period of trying to figure out what mattered enough to spend my time on. Maybe an existential crisis. Now, we go through them all, Jannike, like we all have them. So,
Indeed. Don't we all?
and she said, and have revisited the following titles several times since: 4,000 Weeks, Existentialism, and The Courage to be Disliked. On a daily basis, though, I use the book The Daily Stoic. Stoicism became pretty pivotal in my late 20s. I started to read a lot of books by Ryan Holiday to understand how suffering is something we self-inflict and how we can use the Stoic pillars to guide daily thoughts and actions. So thank you, Jannike, so much. I will put links in our show notes to the books that Chrissy and I have mentioned, and I will put links to the books that you have as well.
Thank you, Jannike. As we have our Slow Readers Book Club, I think that is great that we have a little chat about that. So thank you for that suggestion.
Awesome. I think we'll move on to our peaks, pits, and plans now. Sis, do you want to start?
Sure. Paul, I got a little couple pits. One is that I can't get into my freaking email right now on my computer. It's driving me nuts. As my sister knows, when something isn't working out, I need to fix it right now. So it's just grinding my gears. But that's fine. It's just whatever. And then I have another pit, and it has to do with my car. You guys, my gosh. Okay, so last week we got dumped on like a foot of snow here in Saskatchewan. And so I think I'm doing a favor by parking my car on the street and people park on the street all the time. I was going to park on the street so that the guy that comes and does snow removal, he can just come and do snow removal and I don't have to worry about moving my car. It's just already parked out of the way. And so I think I'm doing everybody a favor. And lo and behold, somebody backs out of the hardware store and like backed into my car and hit the driver's side doors, both of them, and dented them. So I just finished paying off my car and I take it in next week to have it adjusted. And I don't think it'll get written off, but you don't know these days. And damn, I really hope it doesn't. But anyway, so that's my pit. Honestly, if something could go wrong with my car or something could happen to it, it really has. Like the old Hyundai Tucson it's a beast. It's a battler, let me tell you. But anyways, let's move on from that because there's always way more peaks than there is pits. So my peaks, My friend Kelly came out on Friday, got her hair done, and we went for supper, but she also brought me this beautiful bunch of ranunculus flowers. And as you guys probably know, I'm a flower lover. I used to grow tons of flowers, and she brought me all these beautiful ranunculus, and they're so pretty. She does a flower subscription to Wascana Florist, and that was what their flowers were. So she got 2 bunches and brought me some. So that was great. Then on Sunday, I went to the play out here that the Last Mountain Lake Cultural Center and the Beach Bums Community Theater put on. It was called Here Comes the Bride, There Goes the Groom, with predominantly local actresses. It was all female pretty much. And it was so cute. And I went with a couple girlfriends from out here. We went for lunch and then we went to the play, and it was just like such an awesome afternoon. And the play was so cute. They did such a good job. So high five to the cultural center and to the brand new community theater group that's getting going on out here. So I hope to see some more future plays. And one of the ladies that was acting in it, Carol Golden Eagle, she was like, the next one, you better be in it. I was like, oh, it's been so long since I did a play. Anyways, you never know. I'm kind of up for doing anything. So you never know. But
I'd come back to Regina for that.
oh, that's funny. Okay, well, just so I know, if I want you home, I better get into play. Anyways, so that was great. Another peak is that I registered for my university classes for next year. So that's good times. I feel pretty good about that. I really underestimated how fast these classes fill up. So it was challenging to build a schedule for next year, but I did it. So I'm feeling good about that. And then we had our final women's group on Monday night for the Hearth of Her, which Christine called this group. And it was a very profound class. We had done this exercise I'm still letting it all like absorb in. And so I don't even have many words to say about it yet, because it was just so wow. It was wow. But it'll be sad because that was our last one. But also, I'm sure there'll be something in the future that comes up. So we'll see what moves forward from there. And then my last 2 peaks. So as you guys know, I was contacted by Fumui, a watercolor art supply company. And so I emailed them back, and they sent me a sample contract. So I emailed them back saying, yep, sounds good. And then I hadn't heard from them. And then today she messaged me and she's like, I am so sorry. That kind of got lost in the emails, but she's like, we have got approval for you to get the opaque watercolor set. So I was rooting for this because I've seen it online and I've been curious about it. It's pastel. They're muted colors. I'm super, super excited. I've been playing with the paints lately and I've been cutting up some like cool techniques. I'm just jazzed to try it with these paints. So that's cool. So they got those paints for me. So I won't be testing out the brushes, but I will be testing out the paint. And it's 24 paint pans. So that's awesome. And then the other weird thing that happened, but is also a peak, is that I drank those Elementi electrolytes. And so I have them on auto ship. I just had like my auto ship come to me, or it just refilled. And then all of a sudden they send me this like affiliate link and said, when you buy or when you refer somebody, they can use your link and they'll get a sample pack for free and you will get a free box of Element. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I didn't even ask for it. They just sent me that. Then sure enough, today the mail just gets delivered right to our house these days. And I get home from work and here's a little box, not my box of my order, because I get like a 4-month supply when it comes. But it's like this little sample box. Here it is. They sent me a sample box of samples of flavors that are going to be coming out that I can just give away to people or like keep myself or whatever. I'm like, well, this is kind of a little exciting thing that I didn't even know was happening. So that's kind of cool because they come from the States and they're not super cheap, but I really like them. So we're going to link that. We're going to link that up if you guys want to try them. You can buy them at Costco from time to time, but they do not have the selection of flavors that you can get online. You just get like the couple flavors from Costco, but online they have many different flavors that are awesome.
I am stoked to make this order before summer. Like they look like they'll be just great summer drinks.
Well, you had one, remember? I brought the Pod Summit. Yeah. They're great.
Yeah, I'm excited to use your affiliate code and get some drinks for summer.
Anyways, we are in the season of receiving, so
That's right.
here we are. Isn't this amazing? Hey?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyways,
I gotta put those words right onto my my vision board in
we
this
are in the season of
of
receiving.
receiving. I gotta sit on that some more.
Isn't that lovely? Okay. And so for my plans, our somatic dance class for last week got canceled because we got the snowstorm, so that's been moved to Friday. So after work Friday, I'll be cruising to Regina to go do that, which will be exciting. And then on Saturday, oh, on Saturday at the salon. I will say she was a friend of mine, but also a client to the salon. The Honorable Vaughn Solomon Schofield has passed away, and she was a great friend of ours at the hair salon and just in the community. She lived out here where we lived. And, anyways, so we have been invited to her service on Saturday. Tamara, who works at the salon with me, anyways, we got like formal invitations to go. I was like, I've never had this happen before.
For our listeners who are not from Saskatchewan, Her Honor was the Lieutenant Governor of Saskatchewan, and Chrissy was her stylist and continued to be. But Chrissy did do her hair while she was the Lieutenant Governor in Saskatchewan, and so she's having a state funeral this weekend, and so it is a big deal to be invited. But she was
I
very
thought so.
Yeah, I mean, she remained a client and a good friend of Chrissy and Tamara's.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So that's on my list of things. I'm doing that on Saturday morning. And then Saturday afternoon, my friend Kelly and we are going to Manitou because it's her birthday coming up here. So we're going to Manitou Mineral Springs for the day. We're just going to go hot spring it up, and then we're going to go for supper. Apparently there's a good restaurant in Watson, or we can just come back here and go for supper at the beach, like whatever we can decide. Whatever we want.
Watson or
No,
Watrous?
Watrous. Sorry, Watrous.
Okay.
Watrous. Like, where are you going, Chrissy?
Yeah, kind of.
In Watrous. Sorry, my bad. And then I'm working on Monday because I had to book the afternoon off of work to take my car in to the adjuster. So I'm working Monday. So I've got a lot of stuff going on, but that's pretty much gonna do it for me for all that stuff, you guys. What about you, sis? What's happening in your world? You're currently in Kamloops.
I'm in Kamloops again. Last week, I drove on Thursday. So we recorded the podcast Wednesday, drove on Thursday to Kamloops so I could attend a conference in my volunteer gig role. So driving the number one highway right now, it's a challenge. It is filled with construction. There's lots of stoppages because it's a single lane highway for a good portion of it through the mountains. So there's lots of long stoppages. And I didn't have to do the detour on the weekend for the conference because we were going through it a time after like the construction was done for the day. So I didn't have to do the detour, but I did have to do the detour yesterday. So it's just like in Vermeer to Kamloops should be about a 5.5, 6 hour drive, but it was like 7.5 hours both ways. That is my pit. It's just the stoppages. I don't mind driving for a long time. Like when I drive back to Regina, it's 11 hours. But it is straight, and there is like very rare that there is a stoppage because it is double lane for almost all of it. So, and I get it, it's flat and straight, whereas the mountains is curvy and single lane for a lot of it. So it's just annoying. Construction season's annoying. And I know it's not really a pit, like not a real serious life pit, because just get over it. Everybody has to live through construction, but it's annoying. Okay, so that's my only pit, was just driving back and forth because I had to do I was here for a conference, drove home on Sunday, and then I drove back on Tuesday to Kamloops. So I've been in the car quite a bit.
I don't know how you do it, sis.
Well, you used to do 2 hours every week, both ways.
That's true. It grinds on your gears, though, after a while, for sure.
Okay, well, but my peak was coming to the conference. It was, just connecting and reconnecting with some really great people. The sessions were informative. And I think that always the peak of conferences is just meeting and making new connections. And I certainly did make a couple really great connections that I look forward to having, like our careers crossing paths over the next while, as long as I'm at the ministry and as long as I continue to do my volunteer work doing emergency support services. Yeah, conference. Monday, I was home for the day, and it was Sean's birthday on Tuesday, so yesterday. So we had to celebrate his birthday on the Monday when I was home. And I got up in the morning and went to the grocery store and did a bunch of errands because life was very, like, the turnaround to get back on the road was very short. So I adulted a little bit, but then I picked us up lunch from our favorite food truck in Invermere called the Dilly, and picked us up lunch, and then went and got his birthday gift and got him some cupcakes.
I don't know about the Dilly. I don't know about that.
The food truck. It's open in the summertime.
I don't know. I don't know if I've been there in the summertime.
Yeah, I don't think you've been to Invermere in the summer. Yeah.
That's why I don't know about the Dilly.
Yeah. So, and then Sean and I got his birthday gift. He wanted a new headlamp, so I had to pick that up. And anyways, after I got all that done and had our lunch, went home, got Sean, and we went to the beach for the day, or for like an afternoon. It was so hot. I got a pretty wicked sunburn on my arms and my chest and my face.
You did?
I did. Didn't think it was that strong, but I sure did get a sunburn. I don't like that. I don't like sun damage. Anyways, but it was awesome. He went in the lake because it was warm enough, and yeah, we just had a really nice, like, chill birthday afternoon because the morning was not chill. He was busy getting the deck cleaned off so he could put the cushions out, and yeah. Anyways, and then I came back to Kamloops on Tuesday, so I'm here right now. Sorry, I did miss one more peek. Last night when I got to Kamloops, I went and had supper with a very old friend. In elementary school, I met a friend. His name is Conrad, and he passed away about 10 years ago from cancer. Actually, it's longer than 10. I think it's actually like 13. And his sister lives here in Kamloops. So I got to go and see her husband, and I got to meet their 3-year-old son. So that was really special and grateful to have spent some quality time with her and the family. It's been a long time, and it was really heart fulfilling to reconnect.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Plans? I don't know right now. It's been such a whirlwind in the last 2 weeks of travel. I can't even really think about it. I have a hair appointment scheduled for Saturday. I don't even think I need a haircut, but I guess I made an appointment, so gonna stick with it. But that's really about it. I just need to assess life and get back into a routine again. Because it's been, when you travel, you just get off of your regular routine. Like, I just am looking forward to being at the gym 3 and 4 times a week and eating my girl dinner lunches and, just like that kind of stuff. Just simple. Getting out for my walks. I'm so far behind on the challenge again. It just accumulates so quickly when you don't do it.
Oh my gosh, it really does. If you miss a few days, it's just like, crap, I'm behind.
Yes. And that's exactly
once you get home, you'll log some. You'll be good, sis.
Yeah, every day. I need to get out for a good 5 or 6K every day now to get caught back up and get ahead again. I don't know. Anyways, that's it. I really have no idea what I'm doing this weekend, but that's okay.
Well, that sounds like a lot, sis. Got to get caught up on cams. You got to get your arse back home.
Yeah. Hang out with Sean.
Yeah, amazing. Awesome. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Sister Social Call. As you guys all know, the drill. If you guys like the podcast episode, please share it with all the people that you love. All the books that we talked about, Stacey will have them in the show notes. And if there's any books that are life-changing to you guys, shoot us a message. You can send us an email at sistersocialcall@gmail.com. Let us know if there's anything that you think that could be life-changing for us as well. We can add it to our list. Anyways, if you guys want to find us, you can find Stacey on Facebook and LinkedIn. You can find myself, Krista, on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And you can find Sister Social Call on Instagram. I think that's going to wrap it up for us.
Love you, sissy.
Love you too, sis.